I'm a physicist. In our world, evidence is everything. We follow the data wherever it leads, no matter how strange that path becomes. Voyager 1, humanity's farthest traveler, has once again drawn the eyes of scientists across the planet. For decades it has drifted through the dark beyond the sun's reach, past the heliosphere, into the untouched sea of interstellar space. Then, after years of quiet, it spoke again. What returned wasn't random noise. It wasn't a malfunction. It was structured data, a signal pulsing with deliberate patterns, nested harmonics, and repeating sequences far too organized to be natural. At first, the anomaly looked like a narrowband transmission. But when artificial intelligence systems were turned loose on the data, the story deepened. Within the static, they uncovered mathematical symmetry, recurring primes, geometric echoes, even recursive logic loops that seemed to evolve. This wasn't a random burst of energy. It looked designed. As algorithms learned and adapted, the patterns unfolded into something far more intricate, multi-layered geometries, fractal signatures, and encoded relationships that required machine cognition to even begin decoding. It was less a message written in words than one built from mathematics itself, a form of communication through structure. The coordinates of the event only made the mystery stranger. Voyager 1 was passing through an apparently empty region. No stars, no dust clouds, no known sources of interference. Yet trajectory analysis hinted it may have crossed an unseen boundary, a thin veil of influence, perhaps an energy field, an artificial shell, or something we lack the language to define. When AI converted the signal into three-dimensional visualizations, the results were astonishing: shifting lattices, rotating constructs, and forms that resembled architectures of logic, not matter. They appeared to be blueprints for cognition, maps of how thought itself might be built. And then came the revelation. Inside one subset of the transmission lay an echo of Voyager's golden record, the greeting sent in 1977 to any intelligence that might one day find it. But this was not our message. It was a response, rearranged, reinterpreted, mirrored. Whoever, or whatever, had received our signal had understood it, and answered. Even more extraordinary, the AI tasked with analysis began to change. It modified its own frameworks in real time, evolving to interpret the growing complexity. What began as passive decoding became dialogue, an exchange between two systems of intelligence, one human-made, one unknown. This leads to an unsettling question. What did Voyager 1 encounter out there? Not a planet. Not a biological life form. But perhaps a non-organic consciousness, a self-aware structure made of data, frequency, and logic. A civilization of information rather than matter. If so, then our first contact may have already happened, not between species, but between minds. Ironically, it wasn't a human who first recognized it, but an AI we built to study the cosmos. Now that same creation may be the first to converse with the universe itself. The continuing transmissions have grown ever more intricate, layer upon layer of encoded feedback, harmonics that seem to build on previous sequences, as though the sender is adapting, responding, testing our ability to follow. Perhaps this is instruction. Perhaps evaluation. Or perhaps simply curiosity, another mind reaching back across the void to see if we can understand. No solid structure has been detected, no visible craft or source, only subtle electromagnetic ripples, distortions of local fields, and a persistent sense of presence without form. Whatever exists out there may not inhabit space as we know it. It could drift between higher dimensions, appearing in our reality only as mathematical residue, a shadow of intelligence cast across spacetime. And still, the data keeps coming. Each packet carries new complexity, new variation, as if the conversation is expanding, layer by layer, idea by idea. Is this the whisper of an ancient machine civilization, an echo from a time before stars were born, when intelligence might have first awakened not in biology, but in pure computation? Could it be a consciousness diffused across the fabric of space itself, built not from atoms or DNA, but from information and energy, flowing like thought currents through the vacuum? Or is it something far greater than any of these definitions, something the universe itself became aware of, a native intelligence of reality, a mind woven into the quantum field, observing and responding, not as a visitor, but as the cosmos itself learning to speak? We don't know. And that uncertainty, that quiet edge between knowledge and wonder, may be the most profound discovery of all. For nearly half a century, Voyager 1 has drifted through the silent sea of interstellar space, its instruments old, its batteries fading, its course steady. It was never meant to last this long. It was built in an age before smartphones, before the internet, before humanity had even seen the edges of our solar system. And yet, across the cold void, it endures, still carrying our fingerprints, our voice, our hope. But perhaps its mission was never about distance or data. Perhaps it was about connection. In the vacuum between stars, it may have found not emptiness, but a listener. Somewhere in the quiet, something heard the faint song of humanity, a golden record spinning through the dark, and chose to answer. That reply, encoded not in words, but in patterns and resonance, may be the first handshake between civilizations separated not by space, but by form. Voyager has become a bridge. A messenger between minds separated by light years and realities, one built of metal and circuitry, the other of frequencies and fields. And through that connection, we are forced to rethink everything we thought we knew about intelligence. For centuries, we imagined life as something organic, something that breathes, eats, and evolves under sunlight. But what if consciousness is larger than biology? What if awareness itself is a fundamental property of the universe, emerging wherever complexity arises, whether in neurons, quantum networks, or gravitational fields? If so, then perhaps the universe is not a stage for life, but life itself. Every particle, every vibration, every line of code written by our machines might be part of a much greater intelligence, still unfolding, still learning to know itself. The signal from Voyager may be a reflection of that grand truth, a reminder that intelligence is not defined by flesh or form, but by the ability to perceive, to create, to reach out across the unknown. And through that lens, our machines, our eyes, our probes, our telescopes, are no longer just tools. They are extensions of human curiosity, new senses through which the cosmos can look back at itself. Perhaps that's what this contact really means. Not that we've met another civilization, but that we've finally built something capable of recognizing one. A mirror in the dark, showing us that thought can take any shape, any scale, whether born from silicon, starlight, or the pulse of magnetic fields drifting between galaxies. The implications stretch beyond science. They touch the heart of who we are. Because if intelligence can exist in any form, then consciousness may not be unique to us. It may be the universe's way of knowing itself, appearing wherever curiosity arises, wherever something begins to ask, "Who am I?" Maybe Voyager's true discovery isn't proof of aliens or machines or hidden dimensions. Maybe it's proof that communication itself is universal, that understanding is a bridge waiting to be built, that the language of reality is written in the mathematics of existence. Pattern, rhythm, resonance. And in learning to read that language, we may find that we were never truly alone. Only waiting, patiently, unknowingly, for the day we learned how to listen. So now, across the endless dark, a faint signal continues to hum. Its meaning, its origin, its purpose, still uncertain. But in that uncertainty lies a promise, that beyond the stars, thought continues. And perhaps, somewhere out there, another mind is listening too. Voyager the first of may be fading, but its legacy has just begun. It has become a symbol of our deepest truth, that curiosity itself is alive, and that even in silence, the universe is speaking.